First, I'd like to thank a special thank you to Motion for getting me out here today. I've come on this trip for a few things, and was very fortunate to join this little summit here today. I'd like to thank the table up the front, distinguished guests, and I'd like to thank you all for being patient and waiting an extra hour while we got here with my plane delay and a little bit of traffic on the way, so thank you very much. My presentation today is a bit of a mix on a bit on our college and a little bit on our polytechnic, and how we run my program. I look after the engineering technology programs at TVET level at Melbourne Polytechnic, and during the slide we'll talk about a lot of the things that have already come up in the previous two presentations. A lot of the things that Motion talked about with the delivery and innovative ways of changing our delivery, keeping it very industry-based and very practical. You'll hear me talk about project-based delivery, and project-based delivery is moving away from a set block timetable and moving towards a live project where the students will work on a project, and within that project they tick off their units of competency, which we all are well aware of. So, because within the unit of competency there's all our performance criteria, and we need to make sure that we get that delivered during the unit. So instead of picking a block from Monday morning from 9 to 12:30, we're going to teach this particular module. It gets incorporated into the project brief, and it gets incorporated into an environment where you're still going to get those performance criteria ticked off and then achieved. Okay? So just back to my slide, it's a little bit on Melbourne Polytechnic. We're based in, obviously, Melbourne, and I'll just start off with the Polytechnic in general, and we're one of the leading VET providers in Australia. So we'll start off with the Polytechnic in general, and then I'll channel it right down to my program specifically. So I'll give you, which one is it? Okay. So we've been going for a little while, 100 years. There's been a couple of changes along the way. We merged with a few colleges and tech schools right up until 2005, when we introduced some higher ed and degree programs, and then just recently in 2014 we had a name change from NMIT to Melbourne Polytechnic, and I think it's been a fantastic move for our institute. It's become it's received a little bit of recognition throughout Australia and hopefully globally. So it's a large institute. There's 27,000 students enrolled in Australia, and approximately another 7,000 outside of Australia. It provides work-oriented courses ranging from trade skills, which is down at AQF levels, level 2 and 3, right up to, as I mentioned, the degree programs being introduced. The courses are nationally accredited under the Australian quality system. If you haven't been to Melbourne or haven't seen Melbourne, you've probably seen it in photos or talked amongst yourselves. It's based on the Yarra River. There's plenty of gardens within the city. It's known a little bit as the Garden State, and it's managed to win the most livable city quite a few years in a row. It's a nice spot. And there's some aerial shots looking north from Spring Street in the CBD. There's the main train station, another shot of the city. It's based on the Port Phillip Bay and the MCG you've probably seen on TV watching your cricket. And then some wildlife and some more parks and gardens. It was interesting what Motion said about operating internationally. Melbourne Polytechnic's a strong advocate of that. We many years of experience delivering Australian programs in Asia, over 10,000 student enrolments in China, programs in Korea, Hong Kong, Thailand and Sri Lanka, and hopefully we can run the advanced diploma with the Bangladesh Institute here. Awards, we've been fortunate to win a few awards, right down to international department winning an excellence award, right down to some individual students winning some individual awards, with one of my students, Eleonora, winning the most outstanding diploma student with the Civil Contractors Federation just recently. Campuses, we've got 6 campuses spread over Melbourne, Preston being the main one. Paran is our youngest one. Greensborough had a closure and revamped, and we've got some programs running from Greensborough, which is in the far northeast of Melbourne. And Fairfield, Epping run our programs, with Heidelberg being the trades orientated campus. Trades orientated, I mean the Cert 2, Cert 3 hands-on trades, as in your plumbing, electrical, bricklaying, and all those sorts of trades. The study areas, we cover a range of study areas. I've highlighted the engineering technology as I've got a special interest in that, but we range from animal studies, which is out of the Epping campus, right through to childcare, obviously engineering technology, and even music and screen at VET level. And then we've also introduced some pathways into higher ed for those programs, with engineering technology being one of those. There's I'm not sure if you've seen this or aware of it, but that's the level of the AQF level of education. The VET level is level 1 through to level 6, and then the higher education degree level starts at level 6 and goes through to level 10. So I'm involved with the level 5 and 6 mainly. We've seen people come through the Cert 4 pathway into our level 5 and level 6 programs. So our advanced diploma at level 6 pathway straight into the engineering bachelor program. So a majority of our students who do the higher ed program would probably do our VET program first. Now the reason they do that is they gain a higher content of practical skills. That's the main reason. The higher we leave the bachelor program, the 3rd and 4th year for more theoretical number crunching modules, and then we use the first 2 years to really get the skills, the practical skills up, so that the student understands what he's eventually going to be designing. So there's a strong emphasis on site, as in site visits, site talks. There's a strong emphasis on surveying, where you're involved with site setup, site construction, and there's a strong emphasis on drawing documentation, and that's where the project-based delivery comes in, where the students will do a project. We want the student to understand the drawing documentation thoroughly, so that they're familiar with the handling of the drawing, the documentation of the drawing, the different various consultants that are involved in a job, from your architectural drawings, your structural drawings, your mechanical services drawings, so that they all can tie in together. And we ensure at vet level they use a various number of software, being the two software programs we use are AutoCAD and Revit for the BIM technology. So we really stress those first 2 years, a high level of practical content and project-based delivery. That's the Preston campus. So it's the newest building out at Preston. That's building F, where we live. And there's a few programs that run out of that, with engineering technology being one of them. And we also run our engineering technology from Epping. So the second year of the advanced diploma, the second year of the VET is at Epping, which transitions into the higher ed program, which is based out at Epping. So our school, the School of Engineering, Design and Construction, our Department of Professional Practice falls under that. And the actual programs that fall under our department are engineering technology, building design, building construction, building surveying, and interior design, decorating and design. And there's a couple of photos just to capture what our students would do throughout the year. Like I said, there's a high content of practical. We try to get the students out on site. We probably try to pick 3 or 4 different sites throughout the year, and on top of that, some guest speakers that come into us. There's the surveying there, where they get a feel of what happens on site from a blank canvas, and then the right down to not only the software, the BIM drawings, but also a little bit of hand drawing to start getting a feel for what's shaping up. I've just tried a couple of dot points on our program, what we push, what are our strong points. We've got provisional accreditation with Engineers Australia. There's the high practical content, and we try to keep the smaller class groups. In surveying, we'll have a ratio of probably 1 to 10 or 1 to 12 teacher-student ratio. There's academic support. We've got an online learning resource in lynda.com, and we've got another service in Your Tutor. And the fourth point is it's a direct pathway to the degree program. So once our advanced diploma students have completed their level 6 advanced diploma, it's recognised to pathway straight into the 3rd year of the bachelor program. We've got a range of facilities, from theory rooms, lecture theatres. Our CAD labs obviously equipped with the software. Our 3D printing, and the software we use there is SolidWorks and Inventor. We've got a little robotics lab getting relocated from one campus to the Epping campus. We've got our testing labs for soil and concrete testing, and we've got a fluid mechanics lab for our fluid modules. Our assessment, this is where that project-based delivery comes in. Our assessment and delivery modes, it ranges. Assessment will be, there'll be written assessments, assignments, reports, oral questioning, demonstration. Then there's obviously for your maths modules, maths and mechanics, structural mechanics, you're going to need to do some sort of formal testing for that. There's a portfolio presentation at the end of the semester, at the end of the year, for the students to present their work. Not only do they have to present it, but they have to present it to the class, and there's a panel which will critique their work. So they get used to standing up, presenting their work, and knowing what the content of their work. Delivery modes, classroom and blended online. There's some modules that probably just 98, or probably not 90%, probably about 70-75% research. So to blend them as the project-based delivery, we give the students their own time to go research those parts of the project. And obviously I've just listed those practical areas, which is the surveying, the computer-aided drafting, and the mechanical workshop stuff. And then we try to get, there's those engineering site visits that we try to get in. We'll have a mix of sites we get to throughout the year, and the sites are organised through our industry contacts, our industry relations, which we are encouraged to keep. Now I think the industry relations came up in the previous presentation, so it is a high priority for us to constantly be talking to and discussing our program and our delivery with industry. It's one of our if you go back and have a look at that little action plan table that Moshin had up, that's one of our action plan items. Is it happening? How often is it happening? And if it's not happening, what are we doing to make it to happen? So it's vital. And the site visits range. They can range from a reinforced concrete site that's going up, right down to where the reinforced steel is fabricated. So the students will see not actually the steel on site, but how it's fabricated and put together. Some awards we're fortunate to win. We've the students James, Rebecca and Eleonora, and I think David all got nominated. James and Eleonora winning in 2015 and 2016 respectively, and they've all taken different pathways. James continuing with his higher ed, and he's also working as a construction manager, whereas Rebecca and Eleonora have chosen to stop their studies, but they've found some work. And Rebecca's working with a private company called Rocon, working as a civil operations and plant manager, and Eleonora's working as with a multinational company called Jacobs as a structural drafter and bin modeller. So whether they continue with their bachelor in the future, it's up to them, but they've got themselves up to a stage where they've got into the workforce, they're employed, and they can get on with life. So they're starting to establish themselves with a career. Oh, that's a little bit on our pathway program. It's probably a little bit unclear. The arrows, the green arrows on the left are the entry points, and obviously the orange is the flow, which way they flow, and then the blue are the exits to where they lead you to. And that's if you want to find us on all the social media. So I guess we're going to open up questions to everyone, all the speakers, but thanks for your time and thanks for your attention, and thanks for having me out here today.